Hello and welcome to another Out of Spec Reviews video. You join me here in the Charlotte, North Carolina area. We're actually in Rock Hill, South Carolina at a Circle K charging station. Now that's kind of cool because you and I have visited Circle K charging stations in Europe many times. We've been all around Norway and the ID Buzz and Tesla Model 3, etc., charging at awesome charging spots at Circle K. And now I'm at one in America. This is not a sponsored video. I just think this is a really cool example to show what a potential future of charging situation could look like through the eyes of maybe a convenience store operator. So what I'm going to do is demonstrate how their chargers work, how to actually activate them, because they seem to really get it. The power levels are very reasonable and only increasing. And then I want to take you on a full tour of this site. This is actually Circle K's sort of test location. Their head office is not far from here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And so whenever they get new units out, this is where they're going to be testing them, making sure they work before they're deployed out to the rest of the country. So if you live in the Charlotte area, it might be worth swinging by every week or two just to see if there's ever new hardware here for you to try out, because they're going to have the latest and greatest stuff. So I'll walk you through what's installed, how it's installed, how I'm kind of taking a look at the site to see that it's future-proofed, and I even want to go inside their store here because they have some pretty cool tech to actually purchase things. Again, not sponsored. I'm just super pumped to see some charging at spots that actually are great for the EV driver. You join us here in Rock Hill, South Carolina. For those of you who know, I lived in North Carolina for years. Great to be back. We're actually on a road trip in Anna's new Porsche Taycan, and we are heading to Atlanta. But I'm here borrowing my friend Brandon's Rivian, and let me show you how easy it is to get to a Circle K charging station and just get charging. That's always the most important metric, is to say, can you get in, get charging, and get out? So let's do just that. I'm going to open up the charge port on the Rivian. Of course, it's got the capacitive touch. Open the charging port, and I'm going to take, let me demonstrate this because this is literally what every charging experience needs to be. I'm going to take this cable. I'm going to get into the technical aspects of the charger manufacturer, the cable, and everything. We're plugged in. I'm going to confirm the price here on the screen, which says I'm going to be charged 44 cents per kilowatt hour, which makes sense. Again, you need to charge a little bit more than government-forced charging companies to actually make money out there, in my opinion. I'm then going to tap my Apple Card, boom, right there on the terminal, and it's going to say verifying, present your card. Let's see, authenticating. It says approved somehow. It says thank you, charging authorization successful, contactors going, and we're preparing to charge. I won't get super nerdy initially, but that is literally it. The truck's just about to kick on charging. So the ability to roll up to any station, plug in your vehicle, Apple Pay, which is just so nice, and get juicing. Like, those who drive electric cars that aren't Teslas don't realize how nice this is, how much of a breath of fresh air this really is. And here we go. You'll take a look. The truck's at 57%. Give it a second for the screen to refresh. We're at 0 kilowatts. It's going to jump right up in just a second. And 69 kilowatts, and should be climbing from there. We've already put in 100 watt hours. So love to see that. This, by the way, is the new ABB software that tells you charging speed. So I'm pretty excited about that. That's the first experience you need to have when you get to a charging station. We're doing 148 kilowatts right now. Let me talk a little bit about why I love convenience store charging so much. In Norway, in Europe in general, when you go to charge your electric vehicle, there's usually a coffee shop. There's something to do. You can get some hot dogs or whatever. And we've been to countless stations over there that all I really want to do is get the car started to charge and get some food. Here in the US, it's not always that easy. We're typically in the back of Walmart parking lots. We're in random urban environments, sort of off highways. And it's just not really designed for the road traveler. Fueling stations are designed for the road traveler because they're already servicing vehicles who are here for just a couple minutes. They need to run into a store, grab something quick, a snack, Doritos, Red Bull, whatever it is, and get back on the road. With electric vehicle charging times decreasing, I'm trying to think, like the Taycan average charging time I spend at a charging station is 10 minutes. That's like, get the car plugged in, film-rate your charge, get our snacks, and the car is done. So it's really perfect for the future of driving, is to have a quick experience. So that's why I'm so excited about Circle K building out a network across the entire country, more or less, of DC fast charging stations. So let's talk about what are the ones out there doing this right now. Of course, Circle K is known to have a bunch of chargers in Europe already. They're one of the largest, actually. You'll see superchargers there. Even in the US, we've seen some Duke Energy chargers. We've seen superchargers at Circle K in the US as well. They have some other charging providers as partners, but they're also owning and operating their own sites. So that's great to see. 7-Eleven is another one. They have this big, I guess, ad marketing campaign where they're building a whole thing out. I think there's a few sites right now. We'll see what the future holds. But they're only doing about 80 kilowatt chargers, 200 amp maximum. So again, the point of a convenience store is to get in and out. I'd really love to see some higher power chargers come from 7-Eleven. And I'm sure there's more to come. But I much prefer a site like this where we're over here in a populated place with a nice brand new convenience store rather than some utility owned charging sites that I've been to that are in the back of a dirt parking lot. Looking at you, XL Energy. And like, you know, I get that you own the power and you can put chargers wherever, but this is where people want to charge. So that's my rant about these types of sites right off of highways are really amazing. I was actually driving down here from Pennsylvania this morning, and we stopped at a Circle K just to use the restroom and grab a slice of pizza in Fancy Gap, and called one of my friends who works at Circle K. He's like, oh yeah, chargers are going there too. So I'm like, that seems to be the move. They just get it, which is great. So, you know, I think that covers how much, you know, convenience stores are like the perfect match for EV charging. Let's talk about some of the benefits Circle K has that at least I know about over other people in the industry, more or less. Well, first of all, Circle K owns and operates most of their sites. So unlike many convenience stores or fueling chains, everything you see here is owned by Circle K. They own the store, they own the fueling station, and they own their own chargers and stuff. The big key thing for this, for charging, is we're starting to see, especially with EVgo and some other charging providers, site host agreements end. Typically, there's a lease on the land or a lease on the area where the charger is put. And at the end of that lease, the charger's got to come out. It's got to, you know, it's got to leave. Well, we're starting to run up on those 5-year or 10-year agreements, and some of them aren't being renewed. For example, I was just in New Jersey at a highway rest stop, actually a great place for charging. And there were 2 old EVgo 50 kilowatt stations that are being completely dismantled, ripped out. Those could be potentially chargers that drivers had relied on up until now, and they're going to get there and say, oh, they're out of the ground. The nice thing with Circle K owning their spots, faster install times. They don't have to go through, find all these things, so they can really build out a network quickly. They can put the chargers in, and guess what? They don't really have to lease them, so they can stay there for as long as people are using them, which is great. So it really adds so much more flexibility. And honestly, if EV drivers use the chargers, there's no reason for them to come out. What else should I say about these before getting into the hardware? The site selections, just so you know, are done by EV drivers at Circle K. So the whole layout, the power selection, these aren't people in the industry that don't drive electric or really get what EV drivers want. So the spacing for the sites, the actual power levels and units selected, they're all tailored for that particular spot, which I cannot say for most of the charging providers out there. Most charging providers are run by people who don't drive electric cars, and it shows. I don't know, let me take you on the hardware side, because that's what I geek out about. So here you'll see just the whole track. You have your grid connection, a 500 kVA, so roughly 500 kilowatts, assuming a near perfect power factor. You then have some power electronics switch gear in here. This is from Lincoln Electric Products. They make an EV specific switch gear, which is super cool. You'll see Rivian and Tesla using this. Circle K, of course, using them. High quality stuff, really compact and built for this purpose. They have a couple different versions. But yeah, I love, you're at a serious site when you start seeing these switchgear units here. And then the units, this is the Circle K test site. So you're gonna see a bunch of different units. You can try them out. They use them for I/O testing, making sure they work out in the public under stress test scenarios. This is an ABB Terra 184. It's specifically the high output version. So it's a basically a 300 amp cable that boosts to 400 amps. And so that's why the Rivian can actually charge pretty quickly. The Taycan, being higher voltage, actually only needed 250 to 300 amps, somewhere around there, to max out the charger at 180 kilowatts. What's interesting is I've seen 7-Eleven install this exact charger at many places. And thankfully their branding is correct, but they actually only do about 80 to 90 kilowatts each. And that's because they're choking them with short, or not short cables, but thinner cables, cables that can't handle more than 200 amps. It's really important to size the cables to the power you want to get. All 7-Eleven would really have to do is put on some juicier cables, and they could offer more than double, or just about double, the charging performance that they're offering currently. Now, if another vehicle plugs in here, they can share the power dynamically with the brand new ABB software. I believe at the moment right now it just splits the power, force splits 90 and 90 kilowatts each, but ABB's got to do a little bit of work on the software side to make sure everything blends smoothly. That's just my experience of using the chargers. For example, when I went to that Xcel Energy site in Colorado, the one that I called a spooky experience, they had this exact charger branded at 180 kilowatts. You know, I rolled up expecting to get, again, 400 amps from my Rivian to get pretty good charging speeds. Unfortunately, they had two 200 amp CCS cables, limiting me to about 75 kilowatts, but they branded it 180. At least 7-Eleven brands them 90 or 80 kilowatt chargers. Here, this is the proper way to do it. 180 kilowatt charging with one car, and it will share the power with two. I want to show you another charger over here, one that we've never actually featured on the channel before. This is a Power Electronics charger. We know these guys over here. I believe they're based in Spain, if I remember correctly. And this particular one's a 120 kilowatt charger. You know, it's really important to size the type of chargers to the installation location. Now, my understanding is Circle K is going to be getting into the 360 kilowatt charger game, going all out, big boy stuff, perhaps from ABB. Actually, the ABB factory is not far from here at all. So I'm really looking forward to seeing some Terra 360s installed in the US. Just a rumor, but I'm hoping it comes true here pretty soon. But these Power Electronics units, I'm actually really interested to test out. I'm going to try these before I leave because I've never charged on one and I'd like to give it a go. Looks like maybe 300 amp cables on this particular one. What do you think, 300? There's a secret person in the background. 200 amp nominal, 300 amp boost cables on this particular one. And yeah, I mean, that'll just be kind of neat to charge at. So to kind of wrap up the charging bit of this, why I think you're going to expect to see a bunch of chargers at Circle K locations are because they own and operate a ton of sites across the country. They have a whole team of EV drivers dedicated to putting in electric vehicle charging that's designed for the driver. And they got cool stores that I want to be hanging out at. So, you know, easy activation process. The reliability of everything will have to be seen. They're still relying on third-party charger manufacturers to, you know, provide their charging experience. So time will tell how their back-end monitoring and service process works. I'm looking forward to covering that as I try them out and use them in different places. I believe Colorado should be getting a site or two here pretty soon. And, you know, I'll be there charging all the time, of course, testing it out, making Rate Your Charge updates. But let's run inside really quick because I want to show you this, like, I don't even know how to describe it. This AI that you basically, you don't have to talk to a person. You just show it what you're buying and it knows how much it costs. It's not like a scanner. It just recognizes what you're scanning. So let's go look at this because it's kind of cool. So this is called a mashkin. I've never seen this before. And apparently this one's named as Princess. And all I need to do is place my items on the base below, make sure they're separated, and it's scanning right now. And look at that, it knew the difference. I used two different water bottles, a Path Water and a Smart Water. It knew the sizes and everything. And so there we go. I'm just going to tap my card, just like I did to pay for charging. Hold near reader, boom, authorizing. Thank you, take your items. That's all you need. That's pretty amazing. So not only can you just plug in your car, tap to pay, you don't even have to talk to anyone, scan what you want, and then tap your phone. Coolest thing ever. So love to see it here at Circle K. This is pretty sweet. Let's go outside, wrap up with final thoughts. Well, you join me back outside now where I've moved the Rivian over to this particular charger. By the way, super cool little AI thing in there to know what you're purchasing. Again, two different water bottles it knew instantly. I guess I can use my own eyes to see it, so maybe I shouldn't be so blown away. but I thought that was a really neat little thing. All right, so this is the Power Electronics NB120. To the Power Electronics guys, I spent some time with them at CES, by the way, the manufacturer of this hardware, and they were super cool, all of them out of spec viewers, so shout out to them. I'm using your charger for the first time. And rather than activating it with a tap to pay like we did on the other charger, I want to show you the other way Circle K allows you to pay for charging. So let me back out of this. I'm in the Circle K US app, which for those longtime EV drivers will notice it's powered by Drives, looks very similar to the OG EV Go app from years ago. So we're all familiar with this app as old school EV drivers. What I'm going to do is it knows my location here. It knows this is the nearest charger. I'm going to select this one, Circle K Rock Hill. I'm going to select the 120 kilowatt one. Again, you don't have to do this. I'm just going to mention this. We're going to select B, which is the one we're going to charge on. You'll actually notice that there's an A and a B right over here. So what I'm going to do is swipe on this to activate the charger. There's actually a list here. It says start charging, then connect to the car, even though sometimes the app shows it the other way around. I don't know. Certain charging companies like you to authorize in different ways. This is a Power Electronics cable and handle. I've never used this connector before, so pretty neat looking connector. I kind of like it. It's a little bit cheap plasticky feeling, but let's get it into the truck. So we are in and connected. What we're doing is it's already establishing connection. Beautiful display right here. I can see the Power Electronics logo up here is flashing. I heard contactors go, and we should be charging here in just a few seconds. So we'll give it a second to go. It says charge duration 20 seconds right here. There we go. We are charging, and we're ramping up 12 kilowatts and ramping very quickly. We're at 81% on the Rivian, over 60 kilowatts now. Well, 58.9, 72.8. Pretty much 100 kilowatts, 111, almost maxing out the charger. Love to see it. And there you go, just as easy as that. So 2 different activation methods, either with a tap to pay, or you could just use a normal credit card. By the way, those NIAX terminals are usually pretty annoying, so I'm curious to see how Circle K will implement them. Just being able to tap with Apple Pay is great. And yeah, and then this here with their app, super easy. So download the Circle K app if you have an EV and you live near one of these. It sounds like the rollout's just going to be astronomical with Circle K charging. I'm really looking forward to seeing, 360 kilowatt, 500, 600 amp chargers come here. Again, the guys at Circle K that I know are EV enthusiasts, and they're putting in the biggest, baddest chargers you can buy on the market. So I'm really excited to watch this rollout. It's just going to be insane. So there you go. Thanks so much for watching another Out of Spec Reviews video. I'm leaving you now from Rock Hill, South Carolina. Our road trip continues, but you know me, I'm always on the hunt to find cool new charging stations. And I just can't believe I'm charging at a Circle K in America. Huge fan. You know how excited I always am to charge at Circle K in Europe and get some hot dogs. Bjorn style, of course. He started the trend. We're continuing it here in America. And there you have it. Circle K and charging, 2 things that go really well together. Thanks for watching. See you in another one soon. Bye-bye.